Hey, everybody. First things first, I want to say thank you. If you've joined us for the past 4 weeks to learn about leadership, I want to say thank you for taking your time to invest in your leadership. All for the past 3.5 weeks, we've talked about serving others, being there for others, taking care of others. But today I'm going to talk about a really important topic called compassion fatigue and how if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. All right, so join us as we learn. All right, so once again, if you like what we've been learning, if you like life skills, if you like life lessons, if you just like to grow as a person, go ahead and consider subscribing to our channel because I'm telling you, there's so much more to come, and I would love for you to be a part of that. Good advice and practice. Take out some simple notes, and let's get right to it. So 3 things. What is compassion fatigue? Why do we experience this? And how do we fight compassion fatigue? Let's start with what is it? So the words compassion fatigue, both of them are 2 different words. And compassion, if you don't know what compassion means, is it's a feeling of sympathy or pity towards others. But watch this, especially one that makes you want to help others. To be compassionate is probably one of the greatest qualities of a leader. When you see someone who's not having a great day, going up to them and saying, "Hey, how are you? Are you okay?" That's being compassionate. When you hear about something that someone's going through, it's reaching out to them and saying, "Hey, I just want to check in with you. How are you doing? I heard this happened and I'm always here for you." That's compassionate. Being compassionate is often understood as having a feeling that motivates you to help people. So that's a good thing. Fatigue, on the other hand, is feeling overtired with low energy and a strong desire to sleep that interferes with normal daily activities. So fatigue is not a good thing. So what's compassion fatigue put together? Well, according to wikipedia.com, compassion fatigue is a condition characterized by emotional and physical exhaustion, leading to a diminished ability to empathize or feel compassion for others. It's something we all deal with, everybody. It's sometimes referred to as secondary traumatic stress. So obviously not a good thing, but it's something we all deal with. Now, the big question is who can experience compassion fatigue? Everybody. Me, you, everyone can experience compassion fatigue. If you take care of people, if you're a caretaker, which I can argue every person in our society is caring for something or someone, you fall into this boat. Now, there's some careers that are more on the front lines and cause you to deal with people on a more daily basis or a more frequent basis. And maybe for those people, they're going to experience it quicker or more. But I could argue everyone will experience compassion fatigue. Number 2, why do we experience this? We had a great discussion this morning in my class about why do we experience this? And here's what I got for you. Here's a visual example. If I asked you for water and you had a full water bottle, could you give it to me? Yeah, you could because you have water. Now, if I asked you, "Hey, can I please get some water?" and you notice that your bottle is empty, even if you wanted to help me, you couldn't. Why? Because your bottle's not full. You can only serve someone when you are full. You can only help someone when you are cared for and you are ready to help someone. You can't just help everybody because you're going to run out yourself. So a huge part of this is why do we experience it? Because we forget to fill ourselves. We forget to care for others. We experience burnout. I love this at the bottom if you want to write this down. You must fill up in order to empty out and help others. That's the only way. So we're going to talk a little more about how to do that and what to fill yourself up with, etc. But that's just something to keep in mind. That's why we experience compassion fatigue. We spread ourselves too thin. Whenever we're tired, instead of resting, instead of taking some time to do things we enjoy, what do? We look around and everyone else is doing a lot of stuff. So we have to fill up our plates with even more. But in reality, what you need to do is fill yourself up with good things, with rest and with time and with just taking it easy, because that's how you're going to best serve people for the long run. Compassion fatigue is a set of symptoms. It's not a disease, according to the Compassion Fatigue Awareness Project. So if you're curious on this, look this up. There's a lot of research that has been done on this. So it means that it's treatable. See, symptoms, so often than not, we see them as a bad thing. Oh, why am I feeling this way? And stuff like that. But I'll never, ever forget One of the physicians that I talked to recently who said, pain is not a bad thing always. Sure, no one likes pain, but pain is actually an indicator that something else deeper is usually wrong. Symptoms are not. It's like you shouldn't look at yourself and be like, well, why do I feel this way? Instead, you should look at those symptoms and be like, I need to take care of myself. This is a sign that if I don't take care of myself, something more bad can happen, right? So it's treatable. So it's a sign that we need to take care for ourselves. Now, according to the Compassion Fatigue Awareness Project, okay, so once again, what are we answering right now? Why do we have this? The origins of compassion fatigue most likely took hold during our formative years, during our young years. Surviving a dysfunctional childhood aids in creating behaviors and patterns that can lead to high levels of compassion fatigue and caregiving. When we are put in a position of caring for others at an early age, think about that. That's true. We were always taught care for others, look out for others. Hey, make sure you take care of these people in your life. That's a good lesson. But sometimes as a child, when we learn these things, we learn to put the needs of others before our own needs. And that's where it gets a little tricky. Additionally, write this down if you're interested. We grow up lacking strong boundaries. Ooh. We experience an overdeveloped sense of responsibility. Ooh. And we carry the unresolved trauma within. I don't know what you've been through. We've all been through different things, but you need to understand we need to take steps to resolve those things, or else they're always going to be with us. And in addition to that, we need to care for ourselves. All right. So I just want to be very clear right now. Some people take caring for yourself too far. 8 years ago, one of my friends said, well, I need to find myself. I need to do something nice for myself before I can help others. And I'm like, dude, take all the time you need. And but when I ask him today, 8 years later, how are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm on a quest to find myself. The fear that I have, and don't take me the wrong way, you need to care for yourself. You need to take some time to figure out what you're all about and how you want to serve others. But the fear that I have is that sometimes we're so obsessed with finding out us and what we're all about. But in reality, we don't realize that when we serve others, when we're a leader, when we're out with others and we're talking to others, that's how we find ourselves as well. So it really, really is all about a balance. Okay. So, yes, you have to take care of yourself, but you can also do that as you care for others. How can we fight compassion fatigue? And I put the word fight there on purpose because it's something we're never going to get rid of. It's something we're always going to deal with the rest of our life. But how do we fight it? So, 5 things, but I'm going to go ahead and go one by one slowly. Understanding what it is and who you are, accepting that some things are out of your control, reflecting on what are you filling yourself with, and creating healthy boundaries and surrounding yourself with great people to talk to. I want to be very clear. I'm going to go through every one of these. So if you are still writing these down, write them down as we go through them. Number 1, understanding what it is and who you are. Everyone is a different person, but you have to understand that we're human. And we all experience compassion fatigue over time. When we see something over and over again, chances are it's not going to mean as much to us on the 100th time versus the first time. And once again, we talked about this earlier. Don't view pain as always a bad thing. Don't be so hard on yourself and say, why do I feel this way? But instead, you should be like, no, this is normal. Every person goes through this. Everyone has different limits. And this is where it gets difficult. We all want to be looked at as like that person that, wow, look at all that they can do. Wow, you can handle such a high level of tolerance, or like you've got a lot, like a huge threshold. But let's be real, you're not that person. You are made with specific gifts, with talents that other people don't have. So instead of looking at what you don't have, look at what you do have. And once again, don't compare yourself. You need to understand who you are and what you need. If you need time to yourself, take some time to yourself. If you need to take some time to really take care of your physical self, get healthy before you can help others. Number 2, accepting that some things are out of our control. Man, that is so difficult to acknowledge and to let go of the past. There are some things that have happened in our life years ago that we still think about, but we still hold on to them. And from time to time, there's triggers that help remind us of those things. But we need to acknowledge and let them go. We can't control everything that happens. I had a student ask me today, I'm still waiting for an apology of what someone did to me 5 years ago. Well, I hate to break it to you, but They may never apologize. And it's not personal. It's just that they're not thinking of it. It may have happened to you and it may have meant a lot to you, but you can't live your life waiting for someone's apology. If anything, there's people who are waiting for our apology. There's mistakes that we've made, and we need to ask for forgiveness, and we need to forgive others as well. So it's one of those things where I get it. It may be on your mind and it may have been really messed up. And I'm not saying just forgive them. No, some things that have happened are messed up and just wrong. So we need to acknowledge that. But after we've done that, and we can even confront them too. But point I'm trying to make is we need to accept that some things are out of our control. And I'm so sorry, but some of us have been hurt in ways that still sting every single day. There's a 98-2 model that I talked about in my class that I made up a few years ago. Every single day out of 100 things, there's 98 positive things that happen and 2 negative things. Yet when we go home, what do we think about? The 2 negative things. That's human nature, everybody. But if we can only shift our mindset from the 2 negative to the 98 positive, our lives will be so much more full. We need, number 3, reflect on what we're filling yourself with. So I truly believe in this quote, what informs you forms in you. I love it. And I live my life according to that. And I'm living proof that it works. You see, what we put in our mind is so important. And we may not even think it, but it's so important. Whatever informs us will form within us. And it's going to change the condition of our heart. You need to fill yourself with good thoughts and truths every single day. One of my students was truly asked me recently and said, hey, be real with me. How do you do it? How come you're so positive on the first day of class? And how come you're so positive on the last day of school? It's almost like you're always so consistent. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? You asked a really good question. I work in a public school and I'm not able to share these honest truths. And once again, it's not that I'm not able to, I want to be respectful of the backgrounds of every single student in my class. So I don't want to make it any controversial or anything like that. I want to stick to what I can say. But if you were to ask me on here and the student who is not in my class and who's in college now, I pretty much told him, look, do you want to know the honest truth? How is Mr. Chow who he is every day? It's because I fill myself with truths of my life every single day. So specifically, what does that mean? Well, after college, I realized how difficult it is to be a leader, to constantly being poured out, right? And to fill myself, it's impossible. It's almost impossible for me to fill myself. So I looked for different ways, and the way that I found that was long-term and that was never ending actually has to do with my faith. I'm a Christian, and I believe that God created me for a purpose. Now, just before you turn me off right now, I just want you to know, what does that look like? Well, every single morning, I choose to fill my mind with good thoughts and truths. I am loved. I am forgiven. I was made for a purpose. I can forgive others because I've been forgiven. I can care for others because I've been given the strengths and talents to do so. What I say matters, loving my neighbor, right? Just really, when you fill yourself with that every morning, then I can go serve people. What's the opposite? I used to fill myself with the news. And I know not everyone looks at the news, but you have to understand that everything's the news these days. YouTube is the news. Social media is the news. Everything is news these days. And so I'm not on any social media, no Twitter, no Instagram, no Snapchat, no Facebook or any of that. But when I was on those sites, I don't know, it didn't really refresh me. It didn't fill me up so that I could fill others. So it comes to a point in your life in which you need to choose for yourself. What are you going to do and how are you going to do this? There's many different ways to fill yourself, but for me, I can't do it alone. I need a greater purpose. I need a higher power. All right. So I'm so grateful for my relationship with God. And I say that with no shame. Why? Because it's the truth. It's the honest truth of how I am. Right. And there's no way that I can lie to you and tell you that I can do it on my own. I can't. I love this quote. Thoughts become words, words become actions, actions become habits, habits become character, and then character informs your destiny. It all starts with your thoughts. If you don't fill yourself with good things, then you're not going to feel good. That's just really what it is. I one of the analogies I make about addiction is if you were addicted to soda, would it be smart to fill your refrigerator with soda? Probably not. Mainly because at any instance when you really need soda, you're going to have access to it. If you're going through something, if you're finding out that I'm filling up my mind with dirty, bad stuff and I'm not proud of it. And once again, I can relate there. I've been through that and I've actually shared that in my class. But if you see yourself going through it, why are you making it so accessible? You need to figure out a plan to stop these addictions before they get bigger. How did I get over one of my biggest addictions in college? By seeing the need. Do I want to be a 40-year-old man, father, who is having the same addiction as I am as a 20-year-old? No. I hope that it can change. And we all want that. But change doesn't happen thinking you can do it on your own and you can control yourself. Change happens when you make drastic measures and say, you know what, I'm not going to do this for my current self. I'm going to do this for my future self. And I know that change takes years. It's not just like a snap of a finger. It takes years to happen. Thank you for letting me talk to you about that. Number 4, creating healthy boundaries. Oh, I wish I knew this at a younger age. Many of my relational problems in my life have resulted from poor boundaries, really poor boundaries. Boundaries in which I let people into my life too much. There's goodness in space. So by having a boundary, you're being loving. So many people think like, oh, well, I don't want to have boundaries. I want people to come into my life and come out of my life and all this stuff. But if you want to be loving, you need to understand that boundaries are healthy and you need them in your life. I love this. In marriage class, where me and my wife go every month, every time we say yes to something, you're really saying no to something else. In life, in high school, I said yes to everything. Hey, can you do this? Hey, can you help me? Yes, 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 yes. But in reality, what was I saying no to? Because every time you say yes, you're saying no to something. And most likely the thing that you're saying no to is probably important to you as well. So keep that in mind. Number 4. And finally, number 5, thanks for staying with us this whole time. Surrounding yourself with great people to talk to. Every single day of my life, I reach out to people I want to talk to, my family, my friends, my colleagues, my bosses. If I want to talk to them, I'm going to go surround myself with them. Do I wait for them to come talk to me? Unfortunately, no, because I've noticed that people are just busy. It's not that they don't want to talk to you. They're just busy. And you need to understand that. Every single day I reach out to people and I'm in fellowship. I'm in constant communication with them. And I'm telling you, that's kind of like my therapy. I don't have a therapist, but I talk to enough people on a consistent basis in that it kind of serves that purpose. I reflect, I'm honest. And these are not people who are just people who tell me what I want to hear. These are people who tell me the truth. If I share with them something that I'm going through, some of them will tell me like, you want my honest opinion? I'm like, yeah. They're like, you made a mistake. You need to go apologize. I'm like, wait, what? It's hard to hear, but I know that they care about me enough and they know me enough and that they're going to give me the best advice. If you're thinking right now, well, I don't have anyone, Mr. Chow, COVID took away all my friends. All I got to say is be patient. One at a time. Grow in your relationships over time. We all need to be reminded that people really do care about us. And we all need to have a long-term vision. Your life right now isn't going to be your life forever. Every year is better. And I'm not just saying that to make you feel better. It's the story of my life. I've gone through some really intense stuff in my life. That's why I am who I am. But I always kept a long-term vision. It's going to get better. And I'm not just saying it's going to get better. It always does. And I'm not just going to wait for these things to happen. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to get some help. I'm going to do all this other things. So once again, 5 ways in which we can fight compassion fatigue. Understand what it is and who you are. Accept that some things are out of your control. Reflect on what are you filling yourself with? Is it everlasting or is it just temporary? Number 4, creating healthy boundaries in your life. And number 5, surrounding yourself with great people to talk to. Thank you everybody for listening. And I can't tell you enough. Yeah, this is our last video. So this is from yesterday. We are done. And if you want to join our channel, if you want to subscribe, I would really appreciate that. Would love to have you join us on the rest of our journey. But other than that, this has been a long video. Thank you for watching and we'll see you next time.